What is up, Pokemon Go family? It is your boy, TheGoulGuy, back at you guys yet again with another video. Today, we are going to be showcasing my Shundo freaking Kyurem. Pretty much my, I only have two Shundos, and it pretty much was one of my favorite, obviously, Shundos, as it is pretty much a monster house, monster powerhouse within the Master League, which is amazing. But yes, we are going to be showcasing a team, basically utilizing to the best of its ability, Shundo freaking Kyurem Black here. Basically, we have a team consisted of Palkia, Marshadow. I'm actually throwing Marshadow out there. Pretty much one of my favorite fighting legendary ghost types, which is awesome. But yes, we have Marshadow as a switch, and then we have our basically our Kyurem Black in the back. Yeah, before we get into it, of course, we're gonna showcase the IVs of everything, the move sets and everything, and yeah, let's get into that. The Palkia that we use here is a 96%. We're going to show off the IVs here. This is a 96%, which is fine. We haven't powered it up fully just yet. We have just a little bit to go, actually. Let's see, how much do we have? Yeah, okay, so we do still have a little bit to go. I still need to build up some XL candy, but regardless, essentially we got Dragon Breath, Spatial Ren, and as well as Aqua Tail on the Palkia. Pretty much main, the main moveset for Master League, of course. And then as well we have our Marshadow. I named it Mashley based off of like the anime Mashley. But anyway, this is our Marshadow here. Best Buds Marshadow with Sucker Punch, Ice Punch, and as well as Close Combat. Pretty versatile within this meta because of the fact is there's a lot of Psychic type Pokemon, a lot of Ghost, well, not a lot of Ghost type Pokemon, but essentially you got some Psychic type Pokemon, got some Ghost type Pokemon, you know what I'm saying? And Sucker Punch is just all around just a decent move, even to hit neutrally on, which is awesome. Ice Punch, of course, is really good for the Rhyperiors and as well as the Landorus out there. Close Combat, really good for all the ice types, like all the Ice Dragons that we have new within the Master League. That is why we're using Marshadow here. And since it's Best Buds, essentially we are going to be able to get at least a little bit over that hump, even though it is not fully maxed out yet. IV wise, it's not the best, but of course you only get one, so this is the one we're going with, and I cannot wait to show you guys what it's capable of in the Master League, which is awesome. I might actually just do like a full showcase of just like Marshadow and just kind of like work around Marshadow. I want to use this Pokemon more in the Master League. I would love to use it more. Definitely need some more XL candy though. And then of course we have our Shundo freaking Kyurem, our Shundo Kyurem Black. If I can pop it up here, oh my goodness. Here we go. We got our Shundo Kyurem Black, of course, full hundo. It's maxed out and everything like that. I'm working on best budding it as we speak, but we got Shadow Claw, Freeze Shock, and as well as Fusion Bolt. Pretty standard moveset for the Kyurem Black anyway. It's really nice. Love the Shadow Claws, like really Shadow Claws really neutral, really good neutrally, on top of the fact is you get to Freeze Shock and as well as Fusion Bolt really fast as well. So really like the moveset on this Pokemon, but without further ado, let's get into the battles. Let's go. Definitely, if I had like possibly a maxed out and as well as hundo, if not 98% Palkia, and like a Marshadow obviously that's also maxed out with probably even more better IVs. This team probably could just do even better, but from what for what I have right now, it actually did pretty solid, so I'm not really mad at it. I think in the beginning here, let me see. Okay, cool. I thought we actually messed up. I thought that it took a while for the match to actually start. Okay, we're starting out here. We got Palkia versus Kyurem White. We're gonna have an advantage here just because Fusion Flare, of course, is not effective against the Palkia, which is very nice. Dragon Breath is gonna do a whole bunch of damage, and as well as Ice Fang not doing as much. They switch into a Dialga. We're basically just gonna get off a Spatial Ren here, see if we can get a shield or if we can take out majority of the health, which we do end up taking out a good amount of health, which is nice. We end up switching into the Marshadow. Marshadow should be able to take out the rest of the health onto this Dialga. forgot if I shield or not. I'm thinking this is going to be an Iron Head or not, Iron Head, and it was an Iron Head. I could have survived an Iron Head, but might as well just try to farm the rest of the way down, build up some energy. I was afraid it was going to get to another Iron Head, so pretty much I just ended up throwing an Ice Punch. Potentially could have farmed all the way down, but I'm not too sure on the counts. That's the one thing. I just wasn't too sure on the counts, so I just threw an Ice Punch just to get it out of there. It could have been close to another Iron Head, who knows, but at least I got still some energy left, and we do have the close combat. Let's see if they end up shielding this close combat or not. But essentially, like, close combat is just such a nuke for Marshadow. I love to see it. We do end up getting the shield, that's fine, and they are going to be able to farm us the rest of the way down. And we just basically bring back in the Palkia. We still have a shield left. I'm thinking this could be just a fusion flare, so I just let it go, and it was a fusion flare, which is nice, so we do get to save the shield. And then they switch into a Necrozma. Now with the Necrozma, of course, Shadow Claw is going to do a good amount of damage, which is nice, so I do have some fast move pressure with the Shadow Claws, which is dope. And then we are going to be able to get to the Fusion Bolt before they get to their charge moves, which I believe they're trying to get up to their Sunsteel Strike, if they do have Sunsteel Strike, because I already premiered, you know, a Necrozma team where essentially it had, yeah, there it is, Iron Head and as well as Outrage. So this one could also be the same. We are out of shields, so hopefully this is just going to be a Iron Head, and if it is an Iron Head, I should be able to, yes, I should be able to take it, and we are going to be able to get to another Fusion Bolt here, which is going to be very nice for me. That should take out majority of the health on the Necrozma. Ooh, there we go. We get the KO, and then they switch back into their Kyurem, and we are going to be able to get to an Aqua Tail before they end up KOing us with the Ice Fangs here, which is going to be very nice. Even though it's super resisted, we are going to be able to take the KO, or take the win, which is very nice, very nice. But as you can already see, the team just works phenomenally, right? Of course, like I feel like the only thing that, of course, I have issues with this team is the fact is, the only issue I have with this team is like fairy types. Fairy Pokemon is very hard to get around. Of course, I have 2 dragons and a fighter, right? So essentially, it's just really hard to get around the fairy types. I was thinking maybe putting Poison Jab on Marshadow. That was one thing I did kind of experiment with. It didn't really go the best I wanted it to, but it is what it is. Oh, okay. So this one. This match I actually just ended up forgetting here. As you can see, like basically I started the match with the wrong team. So what you're typically supposed to do, you're supposed to like back out, which I did. I closed out the app, went back into the app, and then I chose the right team, and then they still gave me the wrong team. So I don't like, I hopefully Scopely, whoever can fix that, but whatever. I kept it in the video just because this was actually a really fun game to actually go against. We were actually going against a Keldeo. This is the first time actually fighting a Keldeo within the Go Battle League, so I kept it in here. But it's from the team that I just previously showcased, so you pretty much know all the movesets and everything of that. But anyway, basically we're just going to use a shield here to block up the Keldeo's Aqua Jet there. I was thinking it was going to be a fighting move. I think it has Sacred Sword if I'm not mistaken. So essentially we ended up blocking that up. Yeah, I'm just going to take this move, might as well save the shield, and then come out with another Iron Head, basically just to take out the rest of this Keldeo here. But yeah, basically, essentially in the beginning there, we got hit with the Aqua Tail, so we got a Ho-Oh in the back that's very hurt, essentially. We have 2 Pokemon that's very hurt from this one Keldeo. Keldeo, very strong Pokemon within this league, which is insane. They bring in a Solgaleo. What I'm going to try to do is get to the Outrage. We're going to throw the Outrage. Let's see if they end up using a shield or not. I believe this would be their last shield, if I'm not mistaken. Cool, alright. Either last or their first shield there. And boom, they end up taking us out there, which is very unfortunate. We're gonna bring in the Ho-Oh. Of course, because it is a steel and psychic type, so of course Incinerate's going to do a whole bunch of damage to it. We are going to have to use our last shield, or actually, you know what? It might just be a psychic fang, so we don't have to use our last shield. Yeah. All right. So it is just a psychic fangs. We aren't going to use our shield. Might as well use it for the Kyurem in the back. Pretty much just as you can see, basically doing a whole bunch of damage. Of course, fire spin on the TheGoulGuy is not going to do that much damage to the Ho-Oh, which is very nice. We are going to be able to get to the Sacred Fire and flip switch, which is nice. And then they bring in their Kyurem White. So Kyurem White versus Kyurem White. Here we go. Here it is. Let's see if we can get to the Fusion Flare. We got to the Fusion Flare before they got to their Fusion Flare, which is very nice. Let's see if this ends up landing, or do we get a shield? We don't. There we go. It ends up landing. Let's go. I think that was their last shield, actually. We still have one more shield, which is very nice. And basically, right after this, we are going to just be able to just farm down the rest of the wave, which is, yeah, there we go. But yeah, we started off with a very bad lead. Of course, a water fighting type against our fire bird, but we still came out on top. Let's go. But anyway, back to the actual team at hand. Back to the actual team at hand. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was just a part of the video. We only have a couple of sets, right? And essentially that was a part of it, okay? But anyway, we got Palkia versus Rhyperior. This is where we want to be. This is where we want to be. I'm going to try to get to an Aqua Tail before they get to the Breaking Swipe. And we do get to the Aqua Tail, which is very nice. They might be building up to the Rock Wrecker. I believe they probably would have already got to the Breaking Swipe by now, but does not matter because we are able to get majority of the health onto the Rhyperior. I'm just going to save shields for the Marshadow and as well as the Kyurem here, and it is the Rock Wrecker, which unfortunately takes out majority of my health as well. Mono, but we end up taking out their Rhyperior, and then they bring in the Dialga. And this is where Marshadow comes to shine. Here he comes, sucker punching his way down. We do get to a close combat here, and essentially I do still have 2 more shields, so we're just going to use the first shield here to block up the Iron Head. And I think I just build up some more energy here, and they bring in the TheGoulGuy. They bring in the Necrozma. Essentially, we're just going to bait with the Ice Punch here, and then switch into our Kyurem Black. Just because Kyurem Black is just going to have obviously really good fast move pressure, and it's going to be able to get to that Fusion Bolt really fast as well. I'm thinking, do I shield here? And I end up shielding here. It was just a Dark Pulse. Was thinking it was going to be a Sunseal Strike. That's the reason why I shielded. But they ended up baiting us with the Dark Pulse, which is fine. We do get to the Fusion Bolt. Let's see if that ends up connecting. It does not, but we do get the last shield. Let's see if we can actually end up KOing this freaking Necrozma. It depends on if it has the Iron Head or a Sunseal Strike. Let's see. It is a Sunseal Strike, unfortunately. Now it is fully up to Marshadow. Can Marshadow take this game? Can it? No, it cannot, unfortunately. I was trying to get I was basically trying to get to the point where I can farm down the rest of the Necrozma and then essentially go into the Dialga. Maybe if I threw the close combat, and then if I went into the Dialga, I probably would have got to another close combat, but I'm pretty sure Dragon Breath probably would have still farmed me down before I got to another charge move. So I wanted to try to at least get to 2 charge moves before the Dialga got in there, but unfortunately Shadow Claw ends up taking me down as well. So it is what it is. Going into the next match, we have Palkia versus Tyranitar. They end up switching into the Kyurem. As I already said, this is a good match for the actual Palkia. And we also have the Marshadow and as well as the Kyurem in the back to take out the actual Tyranitar. Of course, Marshadow is going to work out a little better. Spatial Ring coming through, essentially getting the shield, and then we come into the Marshadow. Now I'm just going to block this one. Of course, this could be an Ice Burn, and as well a Fusion Flare definitely would have done a whole bunch of damage to the Marshadow. And essentially we do get to the Ice Punch and the close combat. We're just going to throw the Ice Punch so we don't debuff ourselves, of course. See if we can at least KO this here. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we do end up KOing the Kyurem there, which is nice. Then they bring in the Ho-Oh. We're basically just going to throw another Ice Punch here. Beauty of the Marshadow, getting the Ice Punch, basically going to be able to do at least a good amount of neutral damage. Decent amount of neutral damage anyway with the Ice Punch. And pretty much they ended up taking us out there. I believe we're just going to go into our Palkia. Because it already has some charge moves built. Basically it's really close to its charge moves already. So pretty much we're just going to sacrifice the Palkia here. Might as well sacrifice that. Cool. And then we come in with the Kyurem Black, basically trying to get to the Fusion Bolt before they get to their charge move, and we do get to the Fusion Bolt before they get to their charge move, which is very nice. Let's see if this connects or not. Does it? No, it gets their last shield, and basically I'm gonna try to get to another Fusion Bolt. What I should have did here at this moment, knowing that the Tyranitar is in the very back, I should have just built up just a little bit more energy, but I did build up a little bit of energy. Maybe I could have went with like maybe one or two more Shadow Claws, maybe, not sure. But basically what happens here, they bring in the Tyranitar. The Tyranitar is running, what is that, Smackdown if I'm not mistaken, a rock throwing move. And I thought this Freeze Shock. I thought this Freeze Shock was going to be able to actually take out the Tyranitar, but unfortunately it does not. It does give me an attack drop, but unfortunately the Tyranitar ends up taking us out here with the Brutal Swing, and they end up winning that game. It was a close game, but yeah, unfortunately Freeze Shock does not instantly take out the Tyranitar as much as it does with a Rhyperior. Yeah, Rhyperior. I love when you get a Freeze Shock on a Rhyperior or an Ice Burn on a Rhyperior and they just get destroyed. I love it so much. Such a fun move to use. Very OP for sure. Alright, so really good lead in this one. We got Palkia versus the Landorus. They end up bringing the Melmetal. Of course, we're going to bring in our Marshadow. This is where Marshadow comes to shine here. We're just going to let them use their charge move. It could be a double Iron Bash, could be a electric type move, not sure, Thunderbolt anyway, but they end up using Rock Slide. Rock Slide is resisted on the Marshadow, which is very nice, so good thing we did not shield that. They're going to hit us with another charge move here, and it is another Rock Slide. Let's go. So we are going to be able to get to double combats here, double close combats anyway. Close combat number 1 going through. Is it going to be shielded or not? If it is shielded, we do have another one, and we are able to take out the Melmetal. One hit KO. Let's go. And then they bring out a Landorus. Landorus is not going to like this Ice Punch whatsoever. Let's see how much damage this does. Oh my god. Takes out majority of the health on the Landorus, and then they bring out a Kyurem, which yeah, the Kyurem is definitely not going to have a good time against the Palkia, and my opponent realizes that they are not in a winning position, and then they end up quitting the game. All right, but yeah, that was a 3 out of 5 that we won there, essentially. Of course, now one of the games was actually with of course another team, which I do acknowledge that. So pretty much what I do here, I end up going into another game just to compensate for the one game we obviously did not use this team, right? So essentially going into the next game, this will be our official 5th game that we actually run with this team. Let's go, go, go. Got the Kyurem helmet on. I see you. All right, we got the Zygarde versus the Palkia. Now with this game, I do remember, if I'm not mistaken, I definitely should have went with the Spatial Rend, but I end up going for the Aqua Tail. I end up going with the Aqua Tail. Definitely should have went with the Spatial Rend. Even just went baiting with the Spatial Rend at least to get a shield, but I should have knew how bulky Zygarde was going to be, so unfortunately I end up using Aqua Tail and pretty much just not getting where I need to go with the Palkia. Definitely could have took out the Zygarde if I just went with Spatial Rend, but unfortunately did not, and end up getting crunched out, which is unfortunate. We're just going to bring in the Marshadow. Marshadow at least is going to have Ice Punch, which is going to be double super effective. I'm thinking, do I shield here? Do I not? They do have the crunch, but I am a part fighter, so I am going to be able to take it just neutrally here. I'm just going to build up a little bit more energy before I end up taking out this Zygarde here. Ice Punch coming through. Let's see if I end up getting that shield or not. I don't, but I do end up KOing the Zygarde, which is nice. They bring in the Kyurem Black. There it is, Kyurem Black in the back. We do have the close combat. Is the close combat going to connect? How much damage does that do to a Kyurem Black? Let's see. And they end up blocking it. Unfortunately, they end up blocking it, but we are going to be able to switch into our Kyurem Black. And we do still have 2 more shields, which is nice. I'm thinking, do I shield? I end up shielding last minute because I knew it was gonna be. It could either be a bait with the fusion, with the fusion shot, or was it fusion bolt? It was either gonna be a fusion bolt or it was gonna be a free shock. I didn't want to take that risk, so pretty much we end up shielding that. That is fine. We end up getting the first shield from the Necrozma. And we are gonna be able to throw another fusion bolt onto the Necrozma here, which is nice. Boom, there it is. And now they have still 1 more shield. That is one thing I have to be cautious about, and we still have 1 more shield as well. So I'm just gonna use this shield here. Good thing, because it was a freaking Sunsteel Strike. Oh my goodness. But we do now still have energy that we can throw onto the Kyurem, which is gonna be nice. But they are probably gonna use that last shield. Let's see. Oh, never mind. Never mind, I thought they still had another shield. But anyway, free shock ends up taking them out fully, and we end up winning that game. My Kyurem Black against their Kyurem Black, taking out their Kyurem Black, which is awesome. There's 1 more game. I'm just gonna let 1 more game. We might as well do 1 more game while we're on the second what do you call it, set. Anyway, might as well. Video might be a little longer than usual, but it is a-okay to show these sets. We got Palkia versus Kyurem White here. As I said previously, Palkia is going to have like an advantage in this matchup just because Fusion Flare is not effective to the Palkia. Now, this could be an Ice Burn. That is one thing I am cautious about, but luckily it was just a Fusion Flare, which is nice. They bring in the Reshiram. Now, I bait with the Aqua Tail. Now, I knew Aqua Tail would actually do a good amount of damage, but I thought it would do just a little bit more damage anyway. But I thought they were actually going to shield for the Spatial Rin, but unfortunately they did not, which is, you know, good for my teammate here. Oh, my opponent here. But we did get the second shield, we did get a shield, which is nice, which is definitely awesome for me. They're going to try to Dragon Breath me down. They got to a charge move here. We're definitely going to shield this. It is a crunch. And basically what we're going to try to do is just farm the rest of the way down. But I was afraid they were going to get to another charge move, so we're just going to use an Ice Punch here. Getting to the Ice Punch. Ice Punch should KO, and it does end up KOing. Let's see what they bring in next. They bring in their Kyurem White yet again. We do have another Ice Punch ready to go. Let's see if this ends up KOing their Kyurem White, or do they end up shielding their Kyurem White. Let's see what happens. They do end up shielding, so we're just going to switch out our Marshadow, switch into our Kyurem Black, and then they bring in a Rhyperior, a Shadow Rhyperior. We get to the free shock. What does this do to a freaking Shadow Rhyperior? Let's see what happens. Boom! KO, instant KO on the Rhyperior, and they see the writing on the wall, and they end up leaving the game. But yeah, we're just gonna leave it there. But some really fun, really good battles with this team that I've done. Essentially, just Kyurem White, super strong within this meta. Marshadow also just a super fun team to work with it. I love that fighters are becoming more viable within the Master League because of all the new Ice type Pokemon, all the new Ice Dragons anyway. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the team down below. If you guys are running anything in the Master League, definitely let me know down in the comments too. What are you guys running in the Master League if you are, you know, obviously participating in the Master League, or are you still using, or are you still doing the Scroll Cup, or are you just waiting for next week? Because I believe like tomorrow, next week or whatever, essentially there should be Great League, Ultra League, and as well as Master League. So basically we're going back to open leagues again, which I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be happy about anyway, because Great League, I can't wait to actually experiment with a little bit more Pokemon. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Leave me a like, subscribe to the channel as it helps the channel grow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.